Hi, welcome to this episode of Connecting Cowichan. And on this episode, we will be discussing weaving. And today we have a special guest. Her name is Laura. Laura, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Laura Elliott. I'm a self-taught weaver, and I'm thankful to be here.
Thank you very much.
This is what I use to make strips of cedar. It's actually a leather lacer. I think they make leather laces with it. And I also use this a little bit different than everybody. I'm not sure how everybody else is. I think they hold it like this, but I hold mine like this, and I run my after the cedar is soaked, I run it through, and I use the handle to keep my bundle of cedar straight as I run it through.
Oh, yeah.
And then you end up with
the
smaller strips. Well, I run the whole length of the whole bundle, so I have like long lengths, and then I just cut them into the lengths that I need. These are the lengths that I need, I said earlier, for making the tops of grad caps. Yeah. So all it is it's just a sharp blade. I think in all the years that I've had this, I think I've replaced it once or twice,
Oh,
maybe.
really?
And yeah, it's just a flimsy little blade, and it just works really well.
Oh, you have different measurements on there for
Yeah,
so you can do different
you can
widths.
use it, or you can adjust it and make thinner strips or wider strips.
And this would just be a tool that would be utilized for leather strips as well, I would assume.
Yeah, I think it's called a leather lacer. I can't remember. So it's just really simple. Other people use a stripper that attaches to a table, and you get multiple strips at once.
Oh, yeah.
I find that it takes two people to be able to do it successfully. So you just loosen this and adjust the strip length. It's probably set at my favorite width all the time. Yeah, so that's what I use. I think I bought it at the town cobbler.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or somewhere in Victoria. Yeah, I can't remember. But I've had it for years.
And definitely looks like it has been used more around the setting within this area.
Like I said, that's my
Yeah.
probably my favorite width. I think that's probably set for this width.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that width.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a process. So after you get the lengths, like I used to cut them, like when I was a new weaver, I would cut them the length of this to the however big the hat I was making. And then I don't know how many years later, I was like, why don't I just cut the whole, like make the strips the whole length of the bundle that I had. So sometimes I have a bundle like this, and sometimes I have a bigger bundle. I just run it through. I just sit in my kitchen and run it through continuously.
And then you
And
end up
just
with a
get lengths
long-
and lengths and lengths of strips. And then after all your strips are done, you thin it more. So I use a favorite paring knife.
Fair enough.
And after the strips are done and the cedar is still pliable, you just strip them thinner. And I call it splitting. You just split it.
So you just split the bark down a little bit more
Yeah,
than
so
that?
it's a little bit thinner and a little bit more pliable. So
Okay.
the bundle that I was working with these, I think I stripped, like these were like, I stripped them down like 3 or 4 times, so they were actually that wide. They were probably that wide of a bundle.
That's about the thickness that
Yeah.
would have happened. So that's
This one's a little
pretty
bit thicker. But this bundle, I probably got 3 or 4 strips out of each one long strip. That's how wide it was in the beginning. 3 or 4 strips, yeah. It was probably about that wide.
And then from there you end up using the paring knife to.
Paring knife, I just poke it through, and then I get through, and then I just split with my hand.
And then it comes apart pretty easily
Yeah.
from there? Okay.
Some people find it really relaxing to be able to just sit and do something. I call it mindless. But in all honesty, whenever I do anything that I'm creating, I'm also putting my good feelings into it, right? Like, if I'm making something for somebody, I pray that whatever they're using it for is they're going to be happy with it, and it's going to, like, cedar's, I believe, a form of protection, medicine. So I pray as I work on something for, so if I'm making something for somebody, even if I'm making it and I don't know who the person is, I pray that it's going to be used in a good way, that it brings goodness to them.
Oh gosh, that's an interesting one, because that's another co-sailor's teaching. You hear that one often used for the cooks who are cooking at like a cultural
gathering.
ceremony.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, like, I've heard that reiterated by the weaver as well. Or the knitter. The knitter. They were saying this, like, something similar, that it's a task that you can continuously do, and it keeps your mind and your hands busy.
Yeah.
And to do it with the good energy, just like you do when you're going to do, like, cultural work for a cultural gathering.
Yeah.
Interesting to see the overlap of the cultural teachings.
Yeah.
And what sort of items would you be able to make with cedar weaving?
Cedar bark. Well, the hats is common. More contemporary or more modern. This is the top part of the grad cap. It'll have a round base so that they'll be able to wear it at their grad ceremony. I didn't have a finished one because I was just doing the tops for this order, and I only have the pieces for the round part for the headband. Because I try to use absolutely everything. I'll show you. Some roses end up large and some are smaller, because these are the smaller bits that I had probably left in my bucket, and I was like, okay, I'll just make a rose. Baskets are made. You can make a basket for, culturally, like years and years ago, they would have like baskets that would hold berries, or baskets that would hold objects, or baskets for different reasons. I think they would twine together, like maybe cedar root for when they were harvesting clams.
Oh yeah.
I haven't done cedar roots yet, but I do have some. So capes can be made for a cultural ceremony or for a graduation ceremony. Because I try to use absolutely everything that I can. I'll make smaller objects, like a smaller cedar hat for decoration. Some people hang them on their car mirrors, or Christmas trees, or whatever.
Because I've seen the smaller ones used on used for the like hanging in the car off the rear view mirrors, and then I've also seen more recently, going to a couple different powwows, just a little cedar hat put on different figurines.
Oh yes.
And they're just stationary figurines that'll have like a little knit couch and sweater or something along those lines, and then they'll have the hat on top. And I think it's cool to see, like, the different representations starting to come up more and more. Now, from the time that you have started weaving till now, have you seen very many people jumping into it?
I think it's become really, really popular. weaving cedar bark. I I said a couple of years ago, I hope there's still cedar bark on the trees when my daughter's old enough to weave. Well, she's old enough to weave now, and there's still bark out there. So, I think it became quite popular and quite fashionable, like you said. It's quite fashionable, and people are finding different reasons to join the weaving team, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that's kind of exploded and
gained more popularity.
It's
for
become
sure.
very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely like seeing more and more people start to partake in it, and I hope to see more younger people jumping into the art form as well, and kind of developing it into a different direction, because I've also seen like how do you see the art form evolving, say from 50 years from now?
I would say with cedar bark weaving, I think it can only continue to grow. Like, I think like with everything, like knitting and beading and different forms of crafting and creating, there's always going to be someone or several people in each generation that's going to absolutely love it and pick up on it and do what they can with it and create. I'm hopeful. Like I said, I reference my daughter a lot because I'm hopeful that she will tap into that creative side of herself and create too. She does a little bit. Like, she now harvests with me. She'll sit and split cedar once in a while with me. I'm hoping her next step will be to create something, like a hat or something. She's made at school different
Like smaller
things.
items.
Like, she came home with a cedar rose and was proud of that. She told them that she had watched me make cedar roses, that cedar bark wasn't new to her, that she had an idea. She's out harvesting in the mountains, and she was little, even though she was just there, present. She's still learning, I think. I'm hopeful that it's going to be something that's going to continue to live on and flourish, like you said. That'll be preserved. But I really believe that even if not everybody is a weaver, that there's going to be somebody in each generation that comes is going to find that love and that passion for it. When I first went harvesting just to help, I didn't think it was going to be something that I would be that interested in. And I studied other people's work and looked at other people's hats or baskets or whatever people had made at different craft fairs, and I was just like, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I am interested. So like I said, there's always going to be people that
for sure
tap into it.
So there's I would assume a limited amount of people who know the practice of harvesting. I don't even know that many people who would even have the knowledge of harvesting. And we were talking about patterns a little bit briefly earlier. How many different patterns do you typically use?
I've been only using the basic basket weave for many things. But I just honestly Google weaving patterns, and then I scroll through, and if I see something that I like this pattern,